guys, welcome back to the channel. Back here with the Evo 10, and in this video I'm gonna drive the car one way or another. So we do have a couple more things to figure out, and I spent the past, I don't know, hour or two trying to figure out these dang radiator fans and why they're not turning on. And I can't figure it out, but I'm gonna test the relays right now because that seems like the next easiest thing. I did send direct power to the fans to make sure they work, and they do. Both of them seem to be good. So the little relay box that sits in front of the big fuse box, I think those are all controlling the radiator fans at some point, whether it's condenser fan, radiator fan. EvoScan has like this whole document on how to kind of troubleshoot this whole situation, and it's like a lot of pages. So starting at the top and trying to figure it out. My guess is if it's not these relays, it's probably the coolant temp sensor, which we gotta pull a few more things off to pull that out. But I mean, I don't know what else it could be. With everything that I've already tried, if it's not those two, it's almost leading me to believe that it's something with the ECU, and I really hope it's not. And I don't think it is, but there's only one way to find out. So just keep diagnosing this stuff until we come to a conclusion. So these are the three relays that I think might have some sort of issue. So let's go ahead and pull these out, see, and test them with the multimeter, see if there's anything wrong. So to test these things, you got these two prongs here on the side. It doesn't matter polarity. We're gonna take our multimeter, set it to 200 on the ohms reading dial, whatever you wanna call it. And we're just gonna touch these guys together. And we should be in between 50 and 200. And as you can see, we are. So this one is good. Try this one. Yeah, we're good there. And last but not least, we're good there. All of our relays in here tested out good. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna order up a new coolant temp sensor, which sits way tucked down under all those lines down there. So we'll pull our intercooler pipe, probably just unbolt these hard lines from the side of the valve cover, and then we should be able to access that little probe. The weird thing is that it's reading inside the car that we have a coolant temp, and I believe that's the only coolant temp sensor. So I'm not really sure how the two correlate. Like, why would it be reading inside the car, but it's not telling the fans to kick on? I don't really know. What we'll do for now, go ahead, make sure it's topped off on water, which I believe it is. And like I said, I was just running the water in it for now, just so we can monitor any leaks. And I think we're pretty much good there. So in a few days, we'll go ahead, drain this out and replace it with coolant. But for the time being, while we're working out the bugs, I do want to keep the water in there. But we can take this off, we'll get our radiator cap back on, and then we'll start it up. I'll get this thing off the rollers, and we can back it out of the garage, maybe take some photos out in the road out there. I'd love to see this thing outside running, and maybe go on a little drive around the block. Car is on the ground, ready to go outside. I went ahead, topped off all the fluids. Oil was good, but I did fill the overflow tank just to see if it has any difference in turning our radiator fans on. Slapped on the JDC Panzerbilt spark plug cover, looks super sick. And yeah, pretty much just got this thing ready to go out as our boy just pulls in and takes our spot. So we'll make him move and we'll back this thing out. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir.
You just took my parking spot.
Oh,
I'm about to roll the Evo out for the first time.
Oh, all right.
So as I was pulling it out, I felt some weird thing in the steering, and then I found this bolt in the driveway. So not exactly sure what that is, but I guess we'll have to figure that out before we go on any sort of long drive. Outside, idling super, super smooth. Damn, she looks good. A few days later, car's back in the shop. I just went ahead, popped the rear bumper off, and got our wiring sorted back there. I decided I'm not gonna run these as an actual light, rather just keep it there as a reflector type deal, because I'm honestly just a fan of having the taillights. I don't want the other lights down there doing turn signal and brake light things. So I just took the wire and kind of looped it up and zip tied it behind the bumper. That way if someone else wants to run it, they still got all the wiring there. And then for the license plate lights, I have the plugs ran right where they need to be. So you can see one right here and the other one is right there. So ready for the lights to be installed. However, the Veris kit comes with these two plates to kind of relocate where these are supposed to be with the rear bumper, but this is for the JDM crash bar rather than the USDM, which doesn't work on this car. So we just need to fabricate something to mount these lights to and get them kind of, put up in the location where they need to be above our license plate. But the last thing I want to do right now behind the car, you can see this exhaust tip. It's pretty clean. It isn't perfect, but it's definitely a lot cleaner than this one, which is all rusted and disgusting. Now I did a trick with the hatch. If you take some Brillo pads and some Dawn dish soap, I believe it was, you can clean that up really, really nice and have it coming out even better than that. So I do have some Brillo pads inside. Let's go ahead and take some Dawn dish soap to that guy. Let's see if we can't get it cleaned up. Well, that was kind of unexpected. I ended up not having Brillo pads, or I can't find them anyways. I knew I had them at some point. But I ended up having to leave for 3 weeks to go on some work trips. But I'm home now, and I think I left off, we were about to clean the exhaust. And I actually have a product here that I wanted to try and see if it'll work to take this rust off. I've seen this stuff all over TikTok. It's called the Moxie Acid Cleaner. And essentially they say you can just spray it on that rust, wait like 20 to 30 seconds, and spray it off with a pressure washer, and it'll be perfectly clean. So I am definitely down to test that theory. If we come to the back of the car, like I said, that one's pretty clean, that one's pretty crusty. So I think what I'm gonna do is just spray it and then use a wire brush to kind of assist it a little bit, get the deep rust out of there, and we'll spray it off with the pressure washer and see what this stuff can do. I've seen so many ads of this stuff working, and yeah, we're definitely gonna put it to the test here. So I'm just gonna hit it with a light mist of water. It's kind of like that, it's kind of what it says to do. Now we can take our Moxie Acid. See if we got more of a mist here. Now, I don't know what this stuff does to paint, but I don't really want to find out. So, because we have a freshly painted bumper, I'm just going to go nice and easy like that. Then I take my wire brush, clean it up the rust a little bit in there. So after a spray with that Moxie Acid, you can see it cleaned up all the rust in there. And I think the rest we're just gonna hit with the Brillo pads, but that did a pretty dang good job. Now, here's the thing. I think this exhaust tip actually had like a black finish on the inside under all the rust, and it took that away too. So here's what we can do. We can either do the same thing on that side as we did on this side and then burn the tips, or we can just refinish it in black. It doesn't really matter, but yeah, that stuff works pretty freaking good. I do wanna try it over here. So this is the coolant expansion tank out of the Evo, obviously, and it has like a bunch of this red overspray from when he tried to spray the fenders the first time. And then the bracket, I didn't get to kind of refinish this one yet, so it's still pretty crusty. So let's try spraying it on here and see how it works with this paint and a little bit of this rust. Well, after spraying that with the Moxie acid, you can see this thing looks pretty much brand new, so I'm super happy with that. We got to do it with our power steering reservoir now, and if we can clean this up as much as we just cleaned that up, dang, I'll be a happy camper. But if you guys want to pick some of this up, it is called the Moxie acid cleaner. I'll have it linked down in the description box below, or I have it linked on TikTok as well if you guys follow me there. All right, we're back in the car. I went ahead, slapped a new coolant temp sensor in there. Not sure if it's going to do anything. But down here I have EvoScan and ECU flash open with the ROMs for this car. So tuning these is a little bit different than the Subarus, and I'm just trying to figure it out. So we got our ROM loaded in here, and that's about all I know so far. I'm kind of following this little guide over here, but I think we're gonna have Chag tune this thing. But I want to make sure that EvoScan and ECU flash are actually working with the ECU before we get some tunes sent over. So I'm going to go ahead and start this thing, make sure that our data logger works, and then we can go from there. So let's fire this old girl up. It's like oil pressure's good. AFR is going to drop to 10.0, and that's kind of what we got it tuned right now. So that drops down, and in the Subaru we do the same thing. It goes really, really rich on startup, and then it'll start to, you know, balance out, but this one doesn't ever seem to want to balance out. So we gotta fix that. So down here, I'm gonna go ahead and start our data logger. Looks like we got connection successful, and it looks like it is data logging. Alrighty, so this is kind of like the live graph of what's going on, I guess. Not really too sure, guys. About as lost as y'all are. At least it is reading our RPM, so I know it is getting signal. I just ran the car for about 25-30 minutes with the new coolant temp sensor in there. As always, it's reading at the dash. I can watch the temp gauge go up, but after 30 minutes or so, it was starting to get pretty dang hot, and our fans are still not turning on, so I have no idea what is up. We've diagnosed everything we could, from relays to sensors to all the wiring leading back. So the only thing it could be, from what I'm thinking, is either we're just not letting it get hot enough, which I find hard to believe, or we have an ECU issue. And when I had the computer plugged into it, ECT, engine coolant temp, was reading negative 39 degrees, which obviously is wrong, which leads me to believe that it is an ECU thing, and I'm not really sure where to go from there. I just find it really bizarre that the car is reading coolant temp correctly at the gauge, or so I think. But when I'm looking at it in EvoScan, now granted, I'm not the greatest with these softwares yet. They are still brand new. But when I start data logging, I can monitor, you know, RPM, knock, all that kind of stuff. And one of the options is engine coolant temp, and it's just staying at a steady negative 39. So I'm not sure if it's just not communicating or what the deal is, but I can't really drive the car if it's just going to overheat on me. So if you guys have any ideas, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'm kind of struggling right now, but yeah, until we get that figured out, I can't really drive the car very long distances because I don't want to risk it overheating. The previous owner warned me about this. As soon as I got it running, he's like, make sure the radiator fans are spinning, because he thinks that's why it overheated and blew up the first time. So obviously we don't want to make that mistake again. Everything else on the car looks really good though, vital-wise. Oil pressure is really good. AFR will get adjusted when we get it tuned, but the car sounds phenomenal. And yeah, there's really no other complaints other than the freaking radiator fans. So yeah, I don't know. Also, we got our boy Panzer back at the house, and I guess since I let everyone else know what we're doing, I might as well let YouTube know. This turbo kit, let me turn up the brightness a little bit, that you guys have known on this car for so long is now sold. And we are doing a twin turbo setup on this car. Essentially 2 turbos right behind the headlights. It's going to be twin next-gen 6266s, and we're going to be hood dumping them. So that's going to be coming up in the next few videos. We're taking this thing up to Pennsylvania to start fabbing everything up. Needless to say, I'm super excited. I've never really seen this done before with turbos of this size and in that placement, so I don't even know if it's going to work, but I have everything here to at least try. So that's what we're going to do, and we'll see what happens. But as of right now, I mean, we did drive the Evo a little bit, but I don't want to really drive it that far until we get this thing figured out. So if you have any suggestions that I should try, let me know, and let's get this thing figured out. That's about it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Catch you in the next one. Till then, peace out. See y'all later.